So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the fifth termly webinar from Greener Kent Schools. It's great to have you all here, whether you're live this afternoon or watching back the recording. So my name's Suzie Hammond, and I'm the Engagement and Behaviour Change Officer for the Environment and Circular Economy team here at Kent County Council, and leading the Greener Kent Schools programme. So please take the time to introduce yourselves in the chat, give your name and the school or organisation that you're from. Little bit of housekeeping. So the webinar is being recorded and all the slides and links will be sent through afterwards. Cameras and microphones have been switched off for everyone except the presenters, so please add any questions into the Q&A or the chat, and we'll cover those after all of the speakers have presented. We've got a very full agenda, so we'll hopefully have enough time to answer them all. Little reminder about the programme. So Greener Kent Schools is a programme of support to help schools connect with the Department for Education, Sustainability and Climate Change Strategy, and is open for all schools in Kent to get involved in. The aim is to create an engaging and thriving community of school sustainability leads who are working collaboratively to take climate action within their school communities and beyond. So the running order for this afternoon's meeting. So I'll begin by introducing the theme of nature actions in schools. And then we'll be joined by Catherine Mead, who's the Plantree Project Officer here at Kent County Council, followed by Anna Minette, who will then present about the Department for Education funded National Education Nature Park programme. And then Bella Sabin-Dawson from Kent Wildlife Trust will share about the Wilder Kent Awards. Finally, I'll then give a run through of the current opportunities that are available for schools to get involved in. And then we'll have time for a short Q&A session, and we'll close with a quick recap of the key actions to take. So hopefully you've managed to create or get started on your climate action plan for your school. There is an overwhelming amount of resources out there, and I'm here to help you navigate these and find the right support for you. Schools can join in at any time along the way, and if you aren't receiving Greener Kent Schools updates, then please just fill in the Greener Kent Schools survey form. So here's an overview of this term's theme. So the theme is nature, and we'll be looking at easy actions to take as part of your school climate action plan, citizen scientist projects, funding options, and award schemes. So a little bit about nature and biodiversity and how schools can engage with this. So the UK is one of the most nature depleted countries in the world. And school grounds can come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and there is a really big opportunity for nature to share this space. The photo here is of Newlands Primary School in Ramsgate. It's one of the 23 schools that I've visited since September for different reasons, and every school that I've been to has been doing something for nature. So I've seen ponds and lakes, wildflower areas, hedgehog houses, bug hotels, woodland areas and forest schools, and lots of outdoor learning. And the co-benefits of getting outdoors and taking nature action are really clear. So physical health, exposure to nature encourages physical activity. And then with mental health, nature can enhance children's mental health by reducing stress and anxiety and promoting a positive mood. And then it can improve concentration, creativity and problem solving skills, and also social skills with nature-based activities, often involving teamwork, and they can improve social interactions and self-regulation. And finally, environmental stewardship, so a care for living things and a sense of responsibilities. So lots of you will already be doing something within your schools, but what else could you be doing? So here's some ideas for you. So firstly, there are a wide range of teams at KCC that can support schools with their nature action. So Plantree is Kent's tree planting strategy, which was launched in October 2022 and is already working with a number of schools, and we'll hear more about this from our next presenter, Catherine. Plan B is Kent's Pollinator Action Plan to lead and encourage communities to improve food sources and general habitats for pollinators. The Kent Countryside Partnerships are a county-wide service that operates across 7 local areas and are delivery organisations for green and blue spaces. They've got dedicated volunteer teams and skilled staff. And you can see a photo here of an example where Lawn Primary School had a pond. So this is the before photo, and then the Kent Countryside Partnership in that area worked with the school to then install a dipping platform from upcycled boardwalk to plant marsh plants, oxygenating plants, and then create a shelter for amphibians. There are then 9 country parks, Kent Country Parks, which run many outdoor education packages, lots of class sessions and forest schools, and also qualifications for staff. And then the Explore Kent team, which is a KCC-led partnership that promotes and actively encourages Kent residents to connect with and value and enjoy from our natural environment. They also create active travel maps for localised areas and can support schools with funded projects. Then the Flood and Water team, who are responsible for managing flood risk across the county, and floods should be reported with this team, but they are also especially interested in nature-based solutions for schools such as sustainable drainage systems and planters. Then finally, making space for nature. So this team have been developing the Kent and Medway local nature recovery strategy, working with partners and stakeholders and through public consultation, which is now closed. And their resources are available for schools. They have a learning pack all about the strategy and how to build series. So different things like a wild patch, compost heap, log pile, and micro pond. Then outside of KCC, there's many local organisations that schools can connect with. So a few examples of these are Brogdale. So Brogdale's home to the National Fruit Tree Collection, but businesses can purchase fruit trees which are then provided free of charge for local schools. And my colleague Jo will share the links that you can be able to register your interest with them. Then there's Communigrow, which are in the photo here. So they are a sustainable food education charity in East Malling, and they have a field school with visits tailored to meet learning outcomes. Sessions can fit the curriculum, including science, cookery, and nutrition and the environment. And then Boar Place, which is a 500-acre regeneratively managed historic estate. They offer educational programs for school children and young people, including accommodation, in order to encourage them to connect with nature and enjoy the outdoors. And then Kent Wildlife Trust. They are Kent's leading conservation charity, and they offer practical education programs to connect children and young people with nature. These are for primary and secondary schools, and we'll hear more from Bella at Kent Wildlife Trust later in the webinar. So a fantastic way of engaging children and young people in nature is to get involved in citizen science projects. So this is where information is collected by volunteers, which would be the school pupils, to expand their knowledge and understanding of the natural world. So there's pollinator monitoring. So this can be done between the 1st of April to the 30th of September. And there's a 10-minute pollinator count called the FIT count, flower insect timed count. And you can send in your results either via a recording form or via the FIT count app. Then there's the RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch. So this happens annually in January. Now this began in 1979 when children's TV programme Blue Peter originally asked viewers to send in their bird sightings, and it is now the UK's largest citizen wildlife survey. School packs are available to take part for an hour of bird watching, and the Big Schools Birdwatch specifically focuses on how birds are faring on school grounds, so is a separate survey result from all the schools that submit their results. The Big Hedgehog Map is available where you can log your sightings of hedgehogs. And Hedgehog Street, which is a partnership between People's Trust for Endangered Species and the British Hedgehog Preservation Society, run this. Then the Big Butterfly Count, so run by Butterfly Conservation, and would either be an end of school year or a summer holiday activity for any budding conservationists. And this runs Friday the 18th of July to Sunday the 10th of August. You just record the species that you spot on the map on the app or website. And then finally, the National Education Nature Park, which Anna will speak about later. And this is the Department for Education programme connecting children and young people with nature. Schools can map their school grounds using GIS mapping skills and can then map the habitats of their school grounds. If all education settings in England take part in this programme, then this would cover the equivalent of twice the size of Birmingham for nature to thrive in. So there's lots of recognition for schools to receive in this area. There's a couple of local Kent awards. So there's the Green School Awards, which are run by Social Enterprise Kent. The deadline for entering this is the 31st of July 2025. And then there's the Wilder Kent Awards run by Kent Wildlife Trust, which Bella will share about later. And the deadline for entry is January the 31st, 2026. Then there are some other national awards. So there's the Royal Horticultural Society School Gardening Awards, where there are 5 levels of awards for schools to work towards. The RSPB Wild Challenge suite of activities, which are for primary and early years and have bronze, silver and gold awards. Then the Woodland Trust runs the Green Tree Schools Award, which is a free scheme to encourage outdoor learning and inspire pupils about trees, woods and wildlife, and currently has more than 16,000 schools signed up, and the levels run from bronze through to platinum. Then Hedgehog Friendly Schools. So this is free support to help schools make impactful changes for hedgehogs and has a bronze, silver and gold level. And then the Tree Council, which offers support for schools to create impact with nature-based projects, connecting pupils and teachers with trees and nature. And this is run via their Young Tree Champions programme. So to have some theme days or weeks or months, there's always lots of different activities around, but these ones are the ones that are coming up over the summer. So we are already on the 6th of May, so No Mow May is fully underway. This is a plant life run activity, and many sites across KCC owned land take part in No Mow May, including offices, care centres, some of our household waste recycling centres, country parks, and some of our highway verges. So the idea of this is to set aside an area to let wildflowers grow and provide vital food for bees and butterflies. You can see in the photo there, that's actually of my neighbour's garden, where they let an area, just a very, very small area, grow during May, and in June there was a bee orchid flowering on there, so it was lovely to see. Then this week there's Outdoor Classroom Day, which is a global movement to make time outdoors part of every child's day, and they run 2 a year, so the second one will be the 6th of November. Then Let It Bloom June. So this is a continuation of No Mow May, and this is to allow an area to grow and provide pollinators food. So with your grass already slightly longer, you can then design your outdoor area, maybe have some different lengths of grass around. And obviously with school grounds, you have areas that you need to have mown for activities such as the sports, but there's often plenty of areas that you can set aside for these. Then 30 Days Wild, which runs in June from the Wildlife Trusts. This is an annual challenge event with a daily challenge for wildlife, such as listening to birds or planting wildflowers. Then the 5th of June, which is World Environment Day. This is the biggest international day for the environment. And this year's theme is ending plastic pollution. And you can register what activity your school is doing on their world map. And then finally, a Great Big Green Week, which runs from the 7th to the 15th of June. So you can create a wave of action for climate and nature through that week. So just a quick look at funding opportunities before I hand over to Catherine. Tesco Stronger Starts has a fund with up to £1,500 available. Any projects would need to be linked with food security, such as growing fruit and vegetables. And then the Royal Society has partnership grants. So one of their schemes is called Tomorrow's Climate Scientists. And you can set up as part of that a nature and biodiversity project. You'd need to work in partnership with either an organisation in industry or in academia, and then you work on a project together. This is funding up to £3,000. And then there are a number of free tree schemes from the Tree Council and the Woodland Trust. And then local funds can be available, such as the South East Water Community Chest, and some of our local recycling contractors also offer grant schemes. So I'm just going to stop sharing and introduce you to Catherine. So she's from the Plan Tree team. So Catherine, if you want to share your presentation, great. Lovely.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Catherine. I work at for Kent Plan Tree. We are the tree establishment team, so the idea behind that is to plant 1.5 million trees across Kent, not just KCC, but everyone across Kent by 2050. So it's quite a task. So we have been working for the past few years with private and public landowners, including schools, councils, farmers, you name it, we've probably worked with them. And our funding up till now has been through central government, DEFRA and the Forestry Commission. That funding at the moment has stopped, so we are looking for smaller grants and funding that we can help people apply for. So over the past 2 or 3 years, we have been working with schools on a number of different projects, approximately 30 schools across Kent and Medway, who have all contacted us with a variety of different reasons for wanting trees planted on their sites, through forest schools to just having areas that they want to use for trees. The numbers have varied from between 50 to 1,000 whips. So whips are the smallest sort of saplings that you can buy. And we've also planted up to 20 fruit trees and standard trees at different sites as well. And one of the great things about working with schools is that you get the pupils and communities, parents, parent-teacher associations, everyone connected with that school can come along and help with that planting and then help us look after the trees. For trees, we have planted for a variety of reasons at schools. Some have wanted to plant for succession reasons, so that their current tree stock is getting old. They want to make sure that there's something there to replace them. Others have limited shade, so want some additional shade. There's biodiversity reasons, educational reasons, and in the case of fruit trees, to provide some source of food. So we'll have a quick look at the different styles of planting that we've been involved with. So this first one is called a Miyawaki, which is a Japanese sort of style tree planting. It's very densely planted. So in this area here, we've probably got about 1,000 trees that were planted very close together. So the area on the right hand side with the black guards, that's what it looked like straight after it was planted. This school here is the same one which is on the left hand side of the screen, and that was 3 years later. So you can see how quickly those trees grow. The one in the middle is another school, and that's 2 years growth. So you get quite a lot of growth quite quickly when you have dense planting. And in comparison, this is the same size of tree that were planted, but much more sparsely. And as you can see, there's lots of different styles that we've used. So the one in the middle was designed because they want that as a forest school area eventually. So it's quite carefully planned. The other two areas, bigger areas, and the schools are free to plant them really how they want. So the one on the left is a lot more random. The one on the right, planted in rows for ease of maintenance so they can mow between the trees. And we've also planted fruit trees. So these ones on the two on the left are what we would call feathers. So they are probably 3-4 year old trees. I'm not sure what variety, probably cherry or apple. The ones on the right hand side, they are also fruit trees. Just goes to show that even if you've got limited green space in your grounds, there's still room for trees. And the advantages of having potted trees is that you can move them around. They're easier to care for in some respects, and it just gives you some additional sort of functionality as well. And finally, the standard trees. So hopefully you can see on the screen. So these are the bigger trees that you would see being planted along the roadsides as well. And these are a mix of fruit trees and native standards. The green bags are hydration bags because trees of this size will need frequent watering over the summer, especially in hotter weather. So there is an onus on the schools to have to look after those trees and water them. The other disadvantage of planting the trees this big is that you need to dig bigger holes, so you may need extra help to help you to do that. But on the plus side, you do get you get shade earlier, and you get those benefits of bigger trees earlier than you would if you're having to wait 5, 10, 15 years for your whips to grow. So how we can work with you from now. So as I said earlier, our central funding from government has ceased for the time being. So we're looking for smaller grants, but we can still help you. So if you are thinking of planting trees or you're interested in planting trees, you can come and talk to us and we can advise you on what your plans might be, pros and cons, the type of species you might be looking for. We would, from our previous experience, we would suggest that you do talk to your education officer first, because trees are a long-term investment, and it may be that it may not be suitable. The site may not be suitable for what you want to do. You have to think about whether you want the small trees or to plant the bigger trees. As I said earlier, the bigger trees provide those benefits earlier, but that comes at a greater cost. The smaller trees you can plant, you do need to look after them, but you're not having to water them to the same extent. And you don't have to do the safety checks on them quite so early. But once the trees get to a certain size, you obviously will need to do your tree safety checks as well. Always liaise with your ground staff or your ground contractors as well. We have in previous schools realised that the plan the school had wouldn't be suitable for maintenance, and the ground staff and contractors wouldn't have been able to have helped them look after their trees. You should also make sure that your senior management team are on board with your plans, and that there is more than one staff member who is willing to take on the project and look after the trees on a longer term basis. So those are the sorts of things that we can help advise you on. We can help you with filling in the applications for the funds as well, or we can apply on your behalf if that's appropriate. We can also help with the planting. We have access to volunteers who can come out and help to make the days more fun, and we work with the countryside partnerships as well to do that. And then there's the advice on the aftercare. So once you've planted your trees, you need to look after them, you need to maintain them for at least 2 or 3 years while they establish. That includes watering, as I mentioned, mulching, weeding, and pruning if you've got fruit trees, or if you've got larger standard trees that you just want in certain shape. We can also provide education and training, and give talks and provide activities at school, such as assemblies, or if we can come out and train you on how to prune your trees, and anything tree related really. And then there's National Tree Week as well, which is the end of November, beginning of December. So if you have ideas that you would like an activity or an event to happen there, we may be able to help you with that. But one of the main things is that you actually use your trees as an educational resource. A lot of people look at a tree and not notice it other than it being a tree, but you can do all sorts of things with them educationally. So we can help you develop activities around that. And as Suzie mentioned, there's all sorts of funding available for trees. So the Tree Council has recently opened up 3 funds, but 2 of them are suitable for schools. Branching Out Fund, which is between £250 and £2,500, and Orchards for Schools as well. The Woodland Trust Free Trees for Schools and Communities scheme, I believe, is open at the moment, but you may be able to register your interest. The TCV has a Free Trees for Communities scheme, and there's another one, Tiny Forests scheme, which is run by Earthwatch, which if you're interested, if you've got a very small area but would be interested in maybe a Miyawaki style planting, that may be suitable for you as well. And to give you a rough idea of costs, the whips are roughly £1 each, and the guards and the canes and the mulch that goes with it can be between £1 and £2 on top of that. The fruit trees that we saw are around about £50 upwards, and the standards can be anything over £100. And finally, with regard to trees, you can help us by recording what you have and what you see. We have another project that we're running to do with elms, and we've been working closely with the Butterfly Conservation with this project, because there are several butterflies that live on elms, both of which are under-recorded. But it's important to record really anything that you've got. People under-record trees because they're there, they think everyone else has done it. But if you've got trees in your school grounds, please just upload them to iNaturalist or iRecord. If you have butterflies or other insects, again, record them. It's all great data for everybody to have, and it's something that you can involve the children with too. And I'll briefly just talk about Kent Plan B. So as Suzie mentioned, there are several activities and campaigns that are going on regarding pollinators at the moment. Kent Plan B have their own Facebook page, Instagram and web page with a lot of information about the sorts of schemes that are happening at the moment, and their contact details just at the bottom of this slide. All the information about these campaigns, I believe, are on the social media pages at the moment. And there are several other school resources from the Butterfly Conservation, Bumblebee Conservation and Bug Life that are available on their websites too. And the Plan B team are about to produce these 2 documents, and these will be uploaded on the webpage in a couple of weeks, I believe. So the Community Pollinator Toolkit is targeted at any group managing small areas of land. It isn't specifically written for schools, but it is something that you could use. It's intended to show the kinds of actions that you can take on a local scale, and it contains a wealth of information about how to complete a habitat survey to establish a baseline, through to the actions you can take and what you might need to create new habitats. The Pollinators in Kent guide provides short introduction to groups of insect pollinators to be found in Kent, and a small sample of the great species biodiversities, along with a calendar of when you will see them. So keep a lookout on their web page for those. And finally, I just mention again Kent Countryside Partnerships, who have been a great help to us for our tree planting, but provide several other services as well. So the main, the 4 of them, which is North West Kent, Medway Valley, Kent High Weald and Kentish Stour, are all still part of KCC, but the others are our partners as well. And they all have skilled and experienced staff, volunteer teams, tools and vehicles, and engage with local communities and landowners to deliver a range of environmental and conservation projects. And North West Kent, Medway Valley and Kent High Weald all have forest schools and outdoor learning trained staff who can help with all sorts of projects that you may have. And that is me finished.
That's great. Thank you very much, Catherine. Anna, did you want to share your screen and put your presentation up?
Hi everyone, can you see that all right and hear me?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Hi, I'm Anna. I'm the Senior Programme Officer for the National Education Nature Park in the South East. So I'm just going to be talking about the Nature Park. I'm sure some of you may have signed up, some of you may not have heard of it. So the agenda for the day for this talk is what is the Nature Park? A bit around that, how to get started, so they're just the first steps. Have a little look at what other settings have done, some examples, and then support available to schools who take part. So what is the National Education Nature Park? So it's a free programme which empowers young people to make a positive difference to their own future and to nature's. So it's funded by the Department for Education under their Sustainability and Climate Change Strategy, and it's delivered by the Natural History Museum and the Royal Horticultural Society. So the programme was created to tackle biodiversity loss in a real and practical way, whilst also helping young people feel more connected to the natural world. And then also more confident in their ability to take action for it as well. So by taking part, students not only support nature, but they also improve their well-being and develop valuable green and digital skills too. So the gist of how it works, we'll go into it in a little more detail, but just as a general guide, children basically get outside, explore their grounds and have a look and see what's there. So they observe the biodiversity around them. They then start thinking about positive changes they can make, and they can log their findings and actions as part of a national citizen science project, so they can see the real impact they're having and how their efforts connect with those of other schools across the country on a big national map. So the overall goal is to involve every young person in England, so from nurseries through to colleges. And we want them to explore the nature on their doorstep and build a connection to that nature. They want them to feel a sense of ownership and pride about their space, and ultimately take meaningful action to enhance their environment. So the programme goals, we've got 4 main goals. So firstly, boosting biodiversity, which as Suzie said, is a huge estate. If you add up all the school grounds and college grounds, it's twice the size of Birmingham. So a huge amount of space to add biodiversity to. Secondly, we're developing some green skills, so really practical hands-on experience that will stay with those children. Also encouraging young people to exhibit pro-environmental behaviours by taking part, and of course improving well-being. I'm sure as teachers you're aware that spending time outdoors in nature is great for mental and physical health, so encouraging that as well. So the general programme follows a 5-step cycle. So firstly, it's getting to know your space. So step 1 is getting children outdoors and understanding their site. So seeing what's there and seeing what's not there in terms of biodiversity. And then mapping that onto an interactive map, a GIS mapping, using GIS mapping software as part of the citizen science programme. And then step 2, they'll be thinking about solutions and their ideas. How can they improve that site for nature and themselves? Step 3, making decisions around that. And then step 4, making change happen. So actually doing that. And that could be something physical, like a hedgerow or a wildflower meadow, or it might be something like a campaign or a fundraiser to raise awareness and funds. And then at the end of that cycle, they record the change. So they go back to that interactive map that's available to them and put all those changes onto that map. And the great thing is the children and teachers can see where they started and see the changes they've made. And that's great to see their impact. And so this is the 5-step cycle. That's the general cycle. I'd also like to say, this is a great programme to collaborate with other programs, intersplice other programs, like for example the Wildlife Trust and their Kent Wilder Awards. So if you did this cycle, you can then apply for that. So yeah, it's great for that. So to support you on the 5-step cycle, we also have free curriculum linked resources. So they're really easy to use. You can go to our website and there's a drop-down menu and you can just choose, how long you want the session to be, what subject, also what step in the cycle you're on as well. And those are ready-made lesson plans that you can just download, print out and follow, and really gives you a bit of confidence going outside as well if you don't feel confident in doing that. And all the resources have been quality checked by the Royal Meteorological Society, so they're all correct and up to date with climate science. So really, yeah, it'd be great to have a look at those as well. And then, sorry, one sec. The climate action plans, as we've mentioned already today, the Department of Education is asking that all settings need to have that in place by the end of 2025. So another thing for schools to do, but the great news is that Nature Park fits into all 4 of those pillars. And so biodiversity, climate education, adaptation and resilience, and decarbonisation. And we work closely with our Department for Education sister projects at Let's Go Zero and Climate Ambassadors. So if you are in contact with them, you can speak to them about Nature Park and how to integrate it into your plans, or contact us as well, because we can help with that too. So just some ideas on how to get started with the Nature Park. So first of all, you want to create your site boundary. Oh, sorry, that isn't coming up, I don't think. Sorry, there is images on that slide that aren't coming up. But yeah, the first step would be to create your site boundary. I think Joe might be able to put a link in the chat. And that is very simple. You just go on a map. So you register for the Nature Park, go on a map and draw a boundary literally around your site. That's what should be on that slide, just a photo of that. So it's very easy, but very important, because that's where you'll put all your habitat mapping and record your data onto that. So the second thing in where you get started would be starting on this 5-step cycle. So the first step is getting to know your space. And there's quite a few resources on there that are really nice that you can use. One of them, for example, is the Hidden Nature Challenge. And that's where you can go out with your children out onto your site and have a look and see what's there that maybe they haven't noticed before. So really getting to know the site and seeing, the small things. So, for example, they may look for a plant in an unexpected place, a repeated pattern, a small sign of nature, something new to them they haven't seen before. So that's one of the activities, and that one's really great as well for schools that don't necessarily have a huge amount of nature on their site. They may think there isn't much there, but the more you look, the more you find in those small gaps and spaces. So another thing you can start with as well is habitat mapping. So this is a really key step in the nature park. It's important because on this 5-step cycle, you'll want to make changes, and you need to start with a baseline to see what changes need to take place or should take place to make that better and more biodiverse. So, for example, if your site hasn't got any hedgerows or any pollinator-friendly plants, maybe it doesn't have any water or any trees, and that's the basis from which you can start thinking about what's missing and what can be added in. And this as well is pupil-led, so they can go out onto their site and look at what's there and map that onto this interactive map on our website. So on the side here, you've got these 8 habitats. So this is just an example of the resources you can use. So you can go out and choose some of these, and the children can go out and see if they can find map the areas with grass, map the areas without any plants, map areas with trees. And each of those has resources linked to them and worksheets they can work through to get them to know a bit more about trees or a bit more about spaces without plants. There's a bit about permeability in there. So really nicely linked to the curriculum too, with science and geography and that kind of thing. And then so there's quite a bit more to the nature park. So this 5-step cycle, we've only got 15 minutes to talk today, so I won't go through it all, but just to let you know, we do have a webinar that's slightly longer in a couple of weeks, where we'll go through the next steps and how you can get started on them. So you're welcome to all attend that as well. So just to kind of run through it, you may in step 2, the identify opportunities, there's some resources you can use to look at a vision statement, what the children might want in their site. For making decision, there's some resources that use these kind of solution cards when it comes to challenges. You might have a really dry site and they've got these really great cards they can have a look at, ideas in how to tackle those problems. Then making change happen, we've got really good resources on a bit more information on how to actually put those changes in place. And of course, we're here to support you too, because you're all horticulturalists, so we're very much happy to support with that as well, with advice. And then recording change, as I mentioned, you go back to that habitat map and you can record that change on there, on that interactive map, so children can see the before and the after and the difference that they're making. So what have other schools done? So here's just a few examples that might give you a bit of inspiration on what other schools have done. So here's St Matthias and CAV Primary in Hackney. The children said there was hardly any butterflies or bees, and there weren't many pollinator plants on the site. So they've created these raised beds and filled them full of pollinators. And the children said they didn't have anywhere to sit. There was lots of places to kick a ball around, but nowhere to sit. So they've put some seating here, because it's not just for biodiversity, but also for children as well. And then next one here, we've got Milton Hall Primary School in Southend-on-Sea. This is a really nice example because this school didn't have a huge budget at all. And it's a really nice way of showing what you can do with a very small budget. So these, it started with this very grey entrance to the school, and they've added just kind of cheap pots and filled them with plants and climbers. And it looks, I'm sure you agree, a lot nicer and really great for pollinators. And then we've got Low Hall Nursery School in London. They had this this alleyway, and they've created these quite sort of small but long planters at the side, again low cost, with sort of tall climbing plants, and made it a much more sort of cozy, nature-filled space. And then finally we've got St Mary's in Clayton the Moors, sorry, terrible pronouncing things, who have added a pond, which is a really good thing for biodiversity, really great to add in, and a lot of schools don't have. If you're worried about safety, these guys, as you can see, have put a fence around it, and you can also put a grid over the top. So very much encourage ponds. And they've also made this fantastic sensory spiral as well with lavender and lovely plants in it for the children. So just some ideas there. And then finally, what support is available? So that's us, the South East team. We started in January. So we haven't been here long, but we are here to support you with the Nature Park journey. So we can, where available, we can run workshops and assemblies. So that includes on habitat mapping. We can discuss with you, discuss biodiversity interventions with you, as I know you're not horticulturalists or experts, so please do contact us for any advice you may need on that. We can answer general questions and queries, and also help with funding ideas and where you may be able to find funding. So please do contact us on that email address at the bottom. We'd be very happy to hear from you. And as mentioned, we do have that webinar in a couple of weeks as well that will go into getting started in a little more detail. And we will have more webinar series as we go along as well. So yeah, thank you. That is all from me. And yeah, any questions? I think maybe at the end.
Yeah. That's lovely. Thank you very much, Anna. And I put the link to that webinar into the chat.
Great, thank
you. Bella, would you like to go next and share all about the Wilder Kent Awards?
Great, thank you. 1 second, sorry. Hopefully you'll be able to see that all right.
Yeah, that's up on the screen now. Thank you.
Super. Hi everyone, my name is Bella. I'm the Wilder Education Officer at Kent Wildlife Trust. And today I'm just going to chat to you a little bit about our Wilder Kent Awards. We've been doing them a little while now, and we are going again strongly for 2025. So I'll introduce you to the scheme. Basically, it is set up to recognise and reward the hard work that schools and community groups, as well as many other groups that are doing in helping us to create a wilder Kent. So by taking positive action to restore nature, you're helping to create a more climate resilient county and provide a home for wildlife in your local area and across the county. So your actions will benefit wildlife locally and help to tackle the global environmental threats we all face. So you can see in these pictures, we've had some of the groups from previous years. That's at our awards ceremony last year. I think the bottom left is in Margate, and bottom right is a local school that has got involved as well. Sorry. There we go. So some highlights from 2024. We had 87 winning groups last year, which was incredible. 20 who won commendation, 26 had a bronze, 23 who won a silver, and 18, amazing number, won a gold award, which was fantastic. So we had a total of 16,000 or over 16,000 people that were recorded as having taken action for nature as part of the award schemes, which is an incredible result for us. We're really pleased to have so many people involved. And when we asked people how connected to nature they felt having taken part in the award scheme, people overall said 8.9 out of 10. So we're very pleased with that. It just goes to show that hopefully people are getting more outside time and getting involved with their local community and nature. So here's a map of all of our winners from 2020 to 2023. Oh no, the dots are 2023, and then the stars are last year. So you can see it's a really widespread across the county as well, which is really, really pleased for us because we're based mostly in Maidstone. We have our other main education sites are Sevenoaks and Canterbury, but it's nice to see that we've got a lot of entrants from all across the county as well. And it's a huge, a very broad spectrum of groups that can get involved, mostly schools, but we do also have, entries from nurseries, colleges, universities, lots of community groups getting involved now, even villages, towns and cities and businesses as well. So if you have anybody who would like to get involved, please do share this with them. The more the merrier, and it's just nice to have this growing network of people who are helping us to create a wilder Kent. We've changed it slightly this year, so the awards now run from January to January. This was partly because the last year and the years before, the submission date fell in the May half term, which obviously wasn't very convenient for teachers. So we wanted to make sure that it was much more accessible and that you guys didn't have to spend your holiday working on our submission form. So yeah, now it's January to January. You get a full year, full calendar year to take action for nature. And yeah, it means also that you can then carry that across if you have an eco team or a group of children that are working with you. It means that, for example, if it's the year 6 that are kind of taking the lead on that, they can then kind of induct the year 5s that are coming up and then pass that on as their legacy before you then swap over to the new year, which I think is a nice way of doing it. So the awards are split into 3 categories, and they each have their own criteria. We've tried to streamline it and make it as easy as possible. And these are the actions that you can aim towards. So the categories are protect and restore nature, sustainability and carbon reduction, and inspire and collaborate. Now, they were slightly different names before, but we've switched it over just slightly so that it aligns a bit better with our Wilder Kent strategy. And just to give you a few ideas of which things are involved under each category. So protecting and restore nature, you could do things like install and maintain bird boxes. You could get involved with some of our campaigns like Bugs Matter, carrying out a litter pit, conducting surveys, just making sure that you've got an area of long grass. It's things that we're hoping that are relatively accessible for many schools to do, even if the space is quite limited on site and that sort of thing. So hopefully there's a couple of things on there that you can spot that you might be interested in doing. Sustainability and carbon reduction, it might be something like creating posters and sticking them up outside the school grounds, so that, encouraging parents to turn off their car engines while they're doing drop-off, or promoting recycling, creating a policy to eliminate single-use plastic, swapping out cutlery for school dinners to, long-lasting plastic ones, or metal cutlery would be even better instead of plastic ones. So yeah, anything at all that, increases the sustainability and reduces your carbon at school. And last but not least, we have inspire and collaborate. This could be something like organising a class visit to a local wildlife reserve, or running forest school. I know a lot of schools now have their own forest school programs, which is really, really lovely to see. So that contributes towards the award. Engaging with parents of the community to create wild areas. So we've had people working in partnership with local businesses. The community have got involved and helped out with lots of different gardening events, that sort of thing. Or even running outdoor mindfulness. Just get the kids outside, enjoying nature a little bit more. So anything at all to contribute is fantastic. I've just popped the awards email address in the top corner there for you guys. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us a message. We're always very happy to help. And the support that we can offer, when you first sign up, you will be sent a PDF of your Wilder Kent Awards booklet. This is personalised to the category under which you enter. So if you're a school, you'll be sent through the schools one. It's filled of wonderful ideas of things for you guys to do throughout the year. So we'll keep you busy. And you'll also be added to our mailing list. So you'll get newsletters every quarter to give you lots of seasonal ideas and inspo. Of course, we're always here for you guys to contact us, and we've got a nice picture of the team at the bottom of the slide here. We've been looking after Kent's wildlife for over 65 years now at Kent Wildlife Trust. So even if it's a question that I don't personally know the answer to, we've got all of these lovely people who can help us out. And yeah, finally, we have our actions page and our Wildlife Watch resources. So that's the tiny little pictures on the side. Again, that's just loads more resources, loads of links, loads of how-to guides on how you can help wildlife in your local area and your school site. So lots of different resources that hopefully the links will be sent into the chat for as well. So if you are interested in entering, you can scan this QR code, which will take you to the website. Just drop your details into the form, and then we'll send you all of the relevant info. Or you can use this link just here. It is totally free to enter. We don't want any barriers getting in the way, so as many people can apply as possible. As I said before, when you sign up, you'll receive your booklet and your submission form, and then the submission deadline is the 31st of January in 2026. So you have lots of time to get started, get stuck in, and then anything that you do from now, from January really, from now onwards, you can then collect, take photos as evidence, and then pop it all into a submission form for us to mark at the end of the year. We've got a very exciting announcement in that we are now having our awards ceremony this year at Chapel House Estate, and it would be lovely to see as many of you as possible there. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you there.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Bella. Thank you for sharing, and thank you to all the presenters. So just going to put my presentation back up on the screen and go through a few other opportunities that there are available. So just loading that now. So hopefully you've enjoyed listening to all the presenters and finding out about all those different opportunities that they've got for you. So I'm just going to go on to the next slide. So I currently have a climate action plan competition running where if you send in your climate action plan to our Greener Kent email, then you can use our Greener Kent Schools logo with all of your work within your schools, and you'll be entered into a competition for a British recycled plastic picnic table. So any climate action plans that have been sent in to me since the 1st of September will be included in the entries, and but entries need to be in by the 31st of July 2025. Coming up from Social Enterprise Kent, there's the Green STEM Showcase on the 2nd of July, where schools are invited to come along for a morning or an afternoon, and they can find out all about different green skills and green jobs that are available. And there'll be exhibitors like South Eastern Railway, there's the Environment Agency, Country Style Recycling. So nice event to go along to. And then I'm working on a funded project called the E-Waste Warriors, so I'll just give you a little overview of that. So this is an material focused innovation fund project. So we have a 1-year project where we're working in schools for that year, and the project is 5 to 6 clusters where we'll work with the schools for 4 weeks in localized areas. So before the Easter holidays, we were working in Maidstone. This term we're working in Dartford, and after half term we will be working in the Tunbridge and Malling area. The areas from September onwards are still to be decided. And for each cluster we work with 2 to 3 secondaries and 1 to 3 primary schools. Within that, 1-year group gets the opportunity to have a team repair engagement session, and all schools will receive branded communications to share with their school communities. So we're aiming to access about 10 to 12,000 households through the reach of up to 18,000 students, and targeting approximately 19 tonnes of e-waste recycling and just under 500 items repaired. So in the 4-week programme, there's a launch assembly, which is a YouTube video for secondary schools, or an in-person assembly for primary schools. Schools receive 1 recycling bin and 1 repair bin for the collection of the e-waste. Schools run the team repair sessions, so they get the fully funded kits sent into the school for 1-year group to take part in that. In the 3rd week, there's a repair cafe event. And then this is where all the schools come together to support the local repair cafe and get their textiles and electronics and electrical products repaired. And then the final week is a last kind of push on e-waste collection. So these are the team repair kits. So the one that we're using for this project is a games console. So there's 3 faults that the children have to find, and with really good links to the electronics curriculum and learning about circuits. I don't know why that's come up like that. The Q&A seems to have gone a bit strange, but has anyone got any questions at all? I'll put it up on the screen like that. So has anyone got any questions at all, Joe? Is there anything in the chat or in the Q&A?
We haven't had anything written in on the chat.
No problem. So if anyone does have any questions after the webinar, then please feel free to send me an email or to any of I can forward that on to any of our presenters. So just then a final recap. So here are the key actions to take away from this webinar. So consider which nature actions could work well for your setting. We've obviously shared lots and lots of different ideas today. Make sure that you map your school boundary and your habitats on the Nature Park website. Enter your school for an award or multiple awards that were shared. But obviously the Wilder Kent Award is our local nature award. So please make sure you enter for that. And then review on the other opportunities that are available for your schools and whether you want to sign up. And then finally share your climate action plan with me, and I can share the logo, the Greenest Kent Schools logo, and enter you for the competition. So just a final thank you to everyone for joining along today. Thank you to the presenters, Catherine, Anna and Bella, and my colleague facilitator Joe, who's been helping in the background and making sure that it's all been smooth running, as well as adding the links. So we will have this onto YouTube this week, so we can share the recording, and we'll also share all the slides and the links. There's been lots and lots of links shared, but hopefully you found it of use and interest of different things that you could get your school involved in. So please feel free to email me or to connect with me on LinkedIn, where I share lots of ideas and different funding ideas and competitions and links. And then just a final thank you.